Every man, at some point in his life, reaches that quiet breaking point, when the curtain doesn't crash down dramatically but rather falls in silence. It doesn't end with shouting or slamming doors or heartbreak songs playing in the background. It ends softly, like dust settling after a long storm. It ends in stillness. There's no anger left, no begging, no confusion, just a kind of awareness that cuts deeper than pain ever could. You sit there, maybe on the edge of your bed, maybe staring at your phone that hasn't buzzed in hours, and something inside you just stops. It's not a scream, it's not a sob, it's not even disappointment. It's the calm sound of realization echoing through your chest: she doesn't care. Not the way you thought. Not the way you needed. Not the way you loved. And for the first time, that realization doesn't burn. It doesn't ache. It just clarifies everything. Because in that still moment, you finally see reality, not what you hoped it was, but what it truly is. You remember every late night you stayed up just to check if she got home safe. You remember the text messages you rewrote 3 times just to make sure your tone sounded right. You remember the mornings when you forced yourself out of bed despite being emotionally drained, only to give her a part of you that she no longer noticed. You remember the way you silenced your own storms to make her world quiet. You bit your tongue to avoid arguments. You swallowed your pride to keep peace. You apologized for things you didn't even do just to show you cared. You kept convincing yourself that if you could just love her enough, she would eventually see you, understand you, choose you. But love isn't a transaction. It isn't math. It doesn't always balance out. And in her world, your consistency wasn't something she admired, it was something she expected. Effort stopped being effort when it became routine. You kept showing up while she kept drifting away, one text at a time, one silent night after another. She didn't leave suddenly. No one ever does. She faded. It started in her eyes, the way she looked through you instead of at you. The tone of her voice changed, it softened, not with love, but with distance. Her laughter wasn't rooted in joy anymore, it was polite, rehearsed, empty. You could feel it. The warmth was gone, replaced by something colder, detached. And still, you stayed. Because that's what men are taught to do. To fix. To hold on. To fight for what they love. You told yourself love was supposed to be hard, that patience would be rewarded, that loyalty would mean something. But some fights aren't meant to be won, they're meant to teach you when to stop swinging, and then, one ordinary day, you just stop. Not because you've given up, but because you finally understand. The storm doesn't need to calm, you do. You stop waiting for the apology that will never come. You stop checking the phone that will never light up. You stop begging a ghost for closure. You stop believing that silence means confusion. It means peace, hers, not yours. But eventually, yours too. You realize that she isn't cruel, and she isn't broken, she's just not you. She doesn't carry the same emotional gravity. She doesn't replay conversations in her head. She doesn't wonder how to fix what's broken because, to her, it simply ended. You were playing chess, thinking 5 moves ahead, while she was just passing time, reacting to emotions that changed with the wind. And when the song ended, she left the dance floor. You think back to every moment you thought love would save it, the flowers, the late-night talks, the promises whispered between half-slept breaths. You thought those things meant something permanent. But permanence doesn't exist in someone who sees love as a moment instead of a home. And once you see that clearly, you stop romanticizing her absence. You stop rereading the messages, stop scrolling through old pictures trying to feel something again. You stop dissecting every maybe she ever said. You stop asking yourself why she couldn't stay. Because the answer, though simple, is brutal: she didn't want to. And that's it. That's when the calm sets in. A strange, heavy peace that feels like both death and rebirth. It's the same peace a man feels when he steps out of a prison cell and sees sunlight without bars for the first time. That's emotional freedom, not the kind that shouts or celebrates, but the kind that breathes. It comes when you stop expecting her to understand your pain. Because she won't. She never tried to. She didn't cry walking away. She didn't hesitate deleting your photos. She didn't blink when she blocked you, as if you never existed. And that's not because you meant nothing, it's because her attachment was never built on foundation. It was built on emotion. And when emotion left, loyalty left with it. That's what most men fail to understand. Men build loyalty on time, sacrifice, and history. Women, at least some, build it on feeling. When the feeling dies, so does their connection. You thought your memories, your effort, your consistency would mean something, but to her, it just faded like background noise. You're left holding a photo album of a relationship she already forgot. And now, you're staring at ashes trying to remember fire. But don't chase it. Don't text her. Don't try to remind her of who you were. Burn it, not in anger, but in acceptance. Let it go, not because she deserves peace, but because you do. You fought for something she didn't even know was worth fighting for. You carried the weight of both hearts. You bent yourself backward trying to prove you were enough, while she barely lifted a finger to keep you. And for what? For her to call your consistency, clinginess, your passion, pressure, your patience, weakness. You were never too much. You were simply too real for someone addicted to illusion. She didn't want depth, she wanted distraction. She didn't want to build, she wanted to feel. And once the feeling was gone, she went with it. Now, your clarity is your armor. Your peace is your rebellion. You don't need closure from someone who never offered clarity. You don't need revenge because you've already won by walking away. The hardest part isn't letting her go, it's accepting that you were never in the same relationship. You were in love, she was in an experience. You built a home, she booked a stay. You saw forever, she saw a moment. You wanted growth, she wanted attention. You planted roots, she chased butterflies. And when you tried to make the temporary permanent, she resented you, not because you were wrong, but because she didn't want to stay. And that's okay. Because you were never meant to be her anchor, her therapist, or her emotional punching bag. You were meant to be the man who learns to walk away with silence as his final word. You were meant to rediscover your worth in solitude. You were meant to understand that healing doesn't happen when she comes back, it happens when you stop waiting for her to. Because the moment you stop trying to make her understand your pain, you reclaim your power, you begin to see all the little ways you lost yourself trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved. You start noticing how often you lowered your boundaries in the name of love, how many nights you stayed awake hoping she'd care, how often you confused being needed with being valued. You start to laugh, not bitterly, but knowingly. Because now you understand that the version of her you loved was a story you wrote, not a person who existed. You loved her potential, not her presence. And there's a quiet kind of grief that comes with realizing that, but there's also freedom. Freedom in finally closing the book. Freedom in finally walking past the ghost of what could have been. Freedom in knowing you don't have to fix what wasn't yours to fix. You stop searching for closure in her silence and start finding meaning in your own. You stop begging the past to make sense. You stop bleeding for someone who never noticed the wound. You learn that peace isn't found in answers, it's found in acceptance. So yes, she's gone. The illusion is gone. The curtain has fallen. But you're still here. Stronger. Wiser. Calmer. You didn't lose her, you lost the version of yourself that thought you needed her to feel whole. You didn't lose love, you found truth. And truth doesn't always feel good, but it always sets you free. One day, she'll remember you, not the way you were, but the way she felt when you cared, when you tried, when you stayed. And that's when she'll realize what she lost. But by then, you'll be too far gone, too healed, too free to notice. You'll be standing somewhere new, building something real, living without performing, loving without begging. Because the real win isn't getting her back. It's never wanting to again. And when that day comes, when you finally breathe in peace without her name attached, you'll understand that letting go wasn't the end of love, it was the beginning of self-respect. You'll look back, not with anger, but with understanding. Because every heartbreak is a teacher, and every silence has a lesson. She didn't destroy you. She revealed you. She showed you the depth of your loyalty, the strength of your heart, the truth of your spirit. And now you know, you were never too much. You were just too real for the wrong person. And now, you carry that truth like armor. Not to protect you from love, but to protect your peace.